Hey guys, I am Caleb with Farm Boy Tactical. You know, knife fighting is really cool, really fun, but there's one very dangerous element to it, and that's that, suddenly you're gonna cut yourself. Alright, before we get started, I just want to give a very thorough disclaimer that this is not a real knife, this is a trainer blade. If you are practicing with the, starting to practice with blades, always do so with a trainer blade. Don't start with a live blade, or you will cut yourself. When you're learning not to cut yourself, don't use an instrument that could cut you. Just saying. Alright, and YouTube, do not take this video down because I'm using a trainer blade. It's a fake knife. You could call it a toy knife if you want to. Just don't take the video down. I'm not being dangerous, alright? Okay, so basically you know what you're here for. You are worried that you're gonna cut yourself while you're training, and you have good reason to be because you are more dangerous to yourself at the beginning than your assailant is, okay? So how do we get to a point where we can actually be confident in our knife skills that when we pull our blade, we aren't gonna do more harm than good. We aren't gonna cut ourselves. And it's really actually relatively simple. You just have to know these basic principles, and if you follow them, you aren't gonna cut yourself, okay? And at the end, we're going to go over a drill so that we can really get this ingrained into our mind, because knowledge just goes in one ear, it goes out the other, but if we actually get down to business and do a very simple drill, this will really help you in your knife fighting abilities and experience and whatever you want to call it. So let's get started. So principle number one, we always keep the knife pointed in the direction that we're going to do business with it. In other words, we are not pointing the blade at ourselves. There's no reason to, it's stupid, and you're not going to stab yourself so long as you keep that blade pointed away from you in the direction that you're actually going to be doing business with the blade. Okay, that goes for a straight grip, it also goes for a reverse grip, okay? We aren't pointing it like this, we aren't pointing it like this, okay? We're pointing it out in the direction that business is going to be done. You know, if you do that, you've basically eliminated all possibility of you stabbing yourself, so that's great. Okay, so really focus on always keeping that point, even when you're slashing, even when you're doing the business, you know, always keep that point pointed away from you, and you know, that'll go a long ways. Principle number two, always use straight, controlled slashes and stabs. Okay, so if we're just, you know, all over the place, and we're just, you know, throwing our knife around, we are going to cut ourselves, because even if we keep that blade pointed away from us, you know, you still have your left arm. You can still cut your left arm, okay? The key to not cutting yourself is always know where your blade is. It's the same as guns. We always make sure we know what our target is and what's beyond our target, okay? The blade, we always know where our target is and what's between us and the target, because basically the blade's not going to go through the target. But you have to make sure you know what's between you and the target. If that's your hand, you don't go there. Now what I mean by that is really the basic Filipino martial arts blade angles. So you have angle 1, down, angle 2, down, angle 3, over, angle 4, the other way. Angle 5 is a straight stab in, angle 6 is a straight stab down, angle 7 is up, or up, whichever you prefer, and angle 8 is up the other way, or up, whichever way you prefer. But you'll notice that all these are straight. They aren't going all over the place. They're straight, they're controlled, and they're focused. And I also skipped 9. 9 is straight up, okay? So basically, if you're gonna do an uppercut with your blade, that'd be an angle 9. And then there's also, I like to add angle 10, which would be to the rear, but that's not Filipino martial arts, I just added that. Finally, we have the left arm. We want to always know where the blade is. We also want to always know where the left arm is. If it doesn't have to be out here, we keep it here, always. We don't keep it down here, we always keep it here. Why? Because the left arm is our defensive arm. This is the attack, this is the defense, okay? We're gonna be blocking, you know, passing, or trapping, whatever we're gonna do, but we always keep this here. If we don't have an open space where we need to actually defend, or trap, or catch, or grab, or whatever we're gonna do, it stays here, okay? And that will solve like 90% of your problem, because a lot of people, they just have their arms thrashing about like, I don't know, Elmo or something, and you know, eventually you're just gonna get cut, okay? So basically, you keep it here unless you have an actual reason to have it out here, and then the way we're going to make sure we aren't cutting it while we're out here is those straight, controlled slashes. So that's the 3 principles. We have keep the blade pointed away from you, we have straight, controlled slashes and stabs, and then we have know where your left hand is. But how are we going to apply all of these? Because again, knowledge just goes in one ear and comes out the other ear. We need a practical way of knowing that this is gonna work, all right? What we've got here, something very simple. We've got a ping pong ball on a string, a piece of hay bale twine. Remember, this is Farm Boy Tactical. So basically, all we need is a target. It doesn't necessarily even have to be this. You could just have a tree or something, but this works pretty well. and we are just going to hit the target. Okay, so whenever we hit the target, we're gonna be focusing on these principles. Throughout the whole time, we're gonna have this blade pointed away from us, regardless of whether we're in straight or reverse grip. Okay, we're also going to be using straight slashes. See, when I hit this ping pong ball is gonna go all over the place, but I'm not gonna chase it. I'm going to do straight controlled slashes. If I can't do a straight controlled slash, I'm not gonna do it, okay? So we're just gonna do straight controlled slashes and stabs, all right? All right, so you see that. See what happens here. It's very interesting, especially with this ping pong ball. So basically, it gets up here really close, and it's really hard for me to actually stop that without getting, like, stabbing myself. So you've got to be really thinking about this, because now if I come in here, I could stab myself. But if I'm come in like this, I'm still pointed away from myself. So that's where this gets a little bit tricky, but you've got to really just focus on that. Okay, so to start with, you're going to want to keep this left hand here up close, but eventually you're going to want to actually be doing some stuff with that left hand, like blocking or passing or trapping, grabbing, whatever you're going to do. You've got to be able to have that left hand out there and still be slashing, okay? And that's where we start to learn some of these motions. You know, it's something that you just get muscle memory with. As you continue to do that, if you cut yourself, you got to really think about, why did I cut myself? Generally speaking, it's just you weren't doing a straight controlled slash or stab. You were going all over the place. So if you really think about what you're doing here and about how your blade is relative to the target and how it is relative to the left hand, and you're really thinking about when your left hand is out there, what are you doing with that left hand? Does it need to be out there, or should it be up here close? Okay, so if you're really applying these principles, it's a very simple drill that will drill them into your mind, if you will, and it's the first step in really becoming proficient with a knife. Because again, you don't want to cut yourself. If you cut yourself, you aren't doing anybody any good, and you might as well have left the knife out.